As the prophet of esports, I rely on trustworthy and meaningful data every day. Data from our research partner YouGov offers the most complete view of esports fans and gamers in the world, providing context to who they are, what they think, the brands they buy, and things they do. YouGov's connected insights and research services inform strategy at every level. If you're a team, a brand, agency, or rights holder, you should be talking with YouGov. Their partners measure and maximize ROI and are telling compelling stories with data. Visit yougov.com/gaming-esports to learn more. I'm curious, Jimmy, the one thing you mentioned was like being early with Overwatch. And, I have this feeling that when a new game comes out, right? And I think this happened with Valorant. And I think it's, I'm already sensing it's going to happen with this new Ubisoft shooter game that they announced this week.
Oh, yeah.
Like, how important do you feel is being first when it comes to wanting to be successful either as a competitor, a streamer, or a commentator? Because you've done all three, right? Like, how important is it to be on the game, like on launch day or in beta? Or
it's paramount. It is paramount. When it comes to the slew of momentum that comes with being first, there's nothing that can be matched. If you miss one event, I'll give you an example. I was trying to commentate Valorant for quite some time, but I missed one event. And from that one event that I missed that other people were able to commentate, they got endless opportunities from. But I remember thinking, this is a catalytic event. And when you're at the forefront, like, really the thing is you're looking for connections and you're looking to make an impression very early on. Because if you're able to do two things, one, connect to companies that are producing these events, you're going to have an in for future events, be it a streamer, competitor, or a commentator, right? Whatever you're doing, you need to make those connections early on. Two, you need to just leave an impression, whatever it is. If you have a brand in the way your voice sounds, if you have a brand in the way, like your style of commentary, your style of competition, your style of streaming, whatever it may be you're doing, you need to leave an impression quickly and you need to be on the scene immediately. That momentum will take you everywhere. And there is something to be said about people who come to the scene late and by virtue of grinding and working hard and just being present day after day and being consistent about it, that's another way to get into it, but much harder. And you'll see now that's exactly what happened with Valorant. A lot of these commentators were middling in Overwatch, but found that momentum early on in Valorant and were able to carry on that success. And of course, that is something we're going to see with Ubisoft's new shooter, which is slated to be 6v6, if I'm remembering correctly. And of course, people were going to try to commentate it. But my early impressions of the game are not great. We can talk about that later, but I think that game's got a lot of work to be done.
But do you find this is a trend that's getting worse? And when I say worse, I mean like it's becoming more important to be early, or do you think there's going to be a reversal and at some point everyone's going to relax? There's enough opportunity for everybody. You don't need to jump on the game day one, or do you think this gets even more competitive?
I genuinely believe it'll be like somewhat of an inverse bell curve, right? Like currently you need to get on the game immediately. You need to make that impression immediately. And I think it will get worse and worse until we see more competitors like Ubisoft putting out these titles that can be competitive shooters, until there is not an oversaturation in the market of commentators. Currently, there's way too many commentators and way too little games. That's the hardest part of being a commentator, content creator, and a streamer, right? You are trying to make it into that 1%.